It's
Okay.
up now.
So, good evening to fellow Rotarians of the district and any guests as mentioned before. I hope that most of our presidents-elect and incumbent membership chairs are with us to spend the next hour as one of reflection of where their club is now and where they want to be this time next year. The ideas we will be sharing are just that, ideas, but also some data which is pure and current. We should never ignore the data. I will attempt to give a broad outline of all of our membership platforms, engagement, retention, recruitment, and then after about 30 or 35 minutes with the slides, as mentioned before, to engage in a question and answer session with myself and the district leadership who are with us. Some members or members to be correct are our greatest assets. As when Rotary's membership is strong, our clubs are more vibrant. Rotary has greater visibility, and our members have more resources to help communities flourish. If we want to continue to create lasting change in our communities and in our world and in ourselves, we have to act on what we know. With this in mind, Rotary conducted several large-scale surveys this year that gave us a clearer understanding of why people join Rotary, why they leave, and the challenges clubs face as they try to make a difference in their communities. I'm going to share that information with you this evening to reinforce the importance of growing Rotary and the specific topics for consideration to meet the agendas for 2021. Reviewing and strengthening the ways Rotary implements and communicates new initiatives, strategies, and tools intended to support clubs. Recognizing the tools and the initiatives that are not meeting its objectives, and those showing success to ensure all member-facing products and digital tools are meeting the strategic objectives of Rotary's new action plan. Continuation of club membership support programs, including recommendations on how to expand its reach to all clubs. Continuing to improve the relationship and collaboration between Rotary and Rotaract, and better understanding the Rotaract experience and apply their successes to struggling Rotary clubs. Ensuring the priority of membership is reflected in all key positions, and that membership is Rotaract there we were speaking about too. Review the roles and responsibilities of assistant governors and other key volunteer roles recommended, and any changes to reflect Rotary's new action plan, and specifically the focus on growing Rotary.
David,
And social.
David, excuse me, could you go a little slower because there is the conversion happening behind the scenes, please.
Okay. Defining and socializing what we mean by participants and members, and analyzing the demographic trends of who is joining Rotary today and who is leaving. And finally, in that group, bridging the gap between Rotary's brand promise and Rotary's product. In simple language, what is the club experience? Over the past 5 years, we have remained at around 1.2 million members. In fact, much more than 5 years. Although we experienced a slight decrease last year, general overall membership is still relatively strong, but needs to grow. To accomplish all the good in the world that we want to do, we need a commitment and a continued emphasis on growing Rotary and Rotaract from our club, districts, and zone leaders. Keeping Rotary relevant and thriving in our second century while continuing to enhance our members' lives requires a willingness to be innovative, seek out diversity, and adapt to changing needs. And what will happen after COVID-19? Who knows? For sure, we just heard from President Mark Maloney, but we've seen the transformation of clubs meeting virtually. We don't be fooled that persons will not want to meet in person when they can again. There will be options to mix both. Some suggest that membership will increase online, but there's also the reality that many persons worldwide have lost their jobs and will not be able to resume membership. Let's think of the options that face us in each club, and hopefully be ready with alternatives to meet the challenge. 3 months ago, we were not talking about this. And now look where we are in the world today. Some data. As you look at the information on this slide, think about your own club. Does your membership reflect the diversity in the community you serve? When our membership is diverse, it makes our clubs more vibrant and helps members understand and respond to the needs of our community. Diversity is one of our core values. The RI Board of Directors passed a diversity, equity, and inclusion statement to help us become a more open and inclusive organization. And I quote, Rotary will cultivate a diverse, equitable, and inclusive culture in which people from underrepresented groups, I should say, have greater opportunity to participate as members and leaders, end of quote. As of March 31st, there were 36,087 clubs, an increase of 197 since July 1st. Starting new clubs expands our reach and increases our capacity for service around the world. Alternative membership types and club experiences, including corporate membership and flexible meeting times, can help clubs address the needs of current and potential members. Information in Rotary Club Central suggests that most of our members are ages 50 to 69. Though definite figures are hard to gauge because 37% of our members don't indicate their age in their profiles. Women make up 23% of our membership, an increase of about 1% since July 1. However, women are still underrepresented. The Board of Directors set a goal for women to make up 30% of our membership and leaders by June of 2023. In the past 10 years, we have seen a change in the regional makeup of our Rotary membership. In Asia, for example, more than 50,000 people have joined clubs since 2009. It now has 32% of the world's Rotarians. Japan, after many years of decline, has not only slowed its losses, but it's beginning to gain. Unfortunately, during the same period, Canada, the Caribbean, and the United States together lost over 50,000 members, dropping from 32% of all Rotarians to 28%. One way we can grow and strengthen our membership is by delivering value to our members. It can be the difference between someone who stays in Rotary for just 3 years and someone who stays for a lifetime. Here is what people in each region value most based on the survey. In Asia, people place significant value on reputation, traditions, and established customs. In Australia, New Zealand, and the Pacific Islands, members need to feel that they can contribute and make a difference. They also appreciate flexibility and innovation that make club experiences more vibrant. In Canada, the Caribbean, and the United States, members value the personal and professional growth that they get from being a member. And in Africa, Europe, and the Middle East, service projects are what makes members feel engaged and motivated. The top 3 reasons prospective members in the US, Canada, and the Caribbean want to join are 18% to positively impact their community, 11% for personal growth and learning opportunities, and 10% to connect with other people in their new community. Let us talk a little about Rotaract. The 2019 Council on Legislation amended our constitutional documents to include Rotaract clubs as members in Rotary International. This action elevates Rotaract and positions Rotary for a future that's innovative and inclusive and better able to adapt to the world around us. Overwhelmingly, we have heard that Rotaract was more than just a program, and Rotaractors wanted more flexibility more products and services, and more recognition from Rotary for the amazing work they're doing in their clubs, districts, and multi-district membership experiences. Rotary International has set some long-term goals for Rotaract: to increase the number of Rotaractors reported to Rotary by 100% by 2022, to increase the number of reported Rotaractors who join Rotary clubs by 20% by 2022 as well, and increase the number of reported Rotaractors to 1 million by 2029. Some points we are considering at the membership committee, and remember these are considerations and not necessarily board approved decisions.
Excuse me, David,
Yeah?
Excuse me, David, do you have it on full screen, presentation screen? Because it's coming across a bit very small.
I have it on full screen.
Okay, because they're not seeing the French part. It's kind of small. Anyhow, go ahead.
Yeah, it's quite large on my screen in French and in English. Yeah. So some of these considerations are a perception of some that is that Rotaractors are expecting all of the benefits of membership in Rotary, but do not want to pay dues. And similarly, some feel that the encouragement to involve Rotaract voices at all levels is being pushed without regard for quality. Also, what opportunities is Rotary going to allow for Rotaractors to serve beyond their club or even district? And if Rotaract growth needs to be more explicitly called out as a responsibility of district governors, and whether regional leaders should submit targets for engaging Rotaractors in addition to the Rotary Club targets. Then we take a look closer to home at District 7030, our district. Currently, we have 72 clubs and 2,267 members. Our district retention profile for existing and new members is shown here. 95% who joined before July 1st last year are still members, and 97% of who joined after are still members. Data, I remind you, can sometimes be misleading. Unfortunately, a lot of updating from members leaving is only done at the end of June and sometimes December. Yet, despite this, our figures are very positive. Our district members are 69% male and 31% female, and this has changed gradually over 3 years. 33% of our members are under the age of 40, and 20% have not reported their age to Rotary International. So generally, our district is performing well compared to the worldwide average. One way we can grow and strengthen our membership is by delivering value to our members. It can be the difference between someone who stays and someone who stays for a long time. As you can see, Rotary doesn't have a problem generating interest in membership. More than 158,000 people joined last year, but an almost equal number, in fact, more, 164,500 left. And half of those who left were members for less than 3 years. Before they joined, the survey has shown 90% of the prospective members have very positive impressions of Rotary. Yet, after they join, only 44% still anticipate being lifelong members. And only half of our current members would recommend Rotary to their families, friends, and colleagues. I repeat that, only half of our members in this survey would recommend Rotary to their families, friends, and colleagues. So what is happening or not happening between when they join and when they leave? To assist with clubs having the tools and data required, the membership committee is also considering some models and conducting some pilot studies, which may or may not relate to this district, but I'll just mention them for your general information. Currently, there's a Houston membership marketing pilot. The committee recently received an update on the Houston pilot. This effort seeks to use the unique opportunity of having an RI convention coming to Houston, Texas in 2022, and to prepare and position the market for enhanced exposure and interest in Rotary, and shift the typical membership recruitment strategy from focusing on current members' personal networks to exposing Rotary to and attracting the general public. The following initial learnings were received and discussed. Genuine buy-in at the club level is critical, and that is buy-in in the area that we are targeting. Existing clubs' current digital presence, logos, website, social media, etc., requires substantial attention and intervention. Resources allocated to the Houston district are not sustainable to be delivered to all Rotary districts. The committee also discussed how an initiative like this might be scaled to other markets, provided preliminary results suggest a reasonable return on investment, and specifically a net gain in membership. In addition to the ultimate objective of growing membership, success measures for this effort include, but not limited to, improved retention rates of existing members, improved follow-up and conversion of membership leads, and closing the gap in awareness and understanding. Based also on these learnings and opportunities to introduce aspects of this initiative into other districts, the committee suggested engaging with local universities or community colleges to explore possible internship opportunities with communication students to do the work of the brand consultant, develop an online social media audit that can be made available to all clubs, and consider adding an audit of all club and district social media presence as a specific aspect of a Rotary Public Image Coordinator's job description. As we dig further into the survey, RI President Mark Maloney reminds us, and I quote, "The job of a Rotarian should never be seen as a time commitment too great for a busy professional to consider. Otherwise, we are closing the door to contributions of the people we need most in Rotary, the ones with the potential for decades of Rotary service and leadership. We need to meet people right where they are, at whatever stage of life they're in, and welcome them." End of quote. If we take the example of a young club president who set Rotary work hours for herself, she dedicates time on Tuesdays and Thursdays to Rotary work, giving her the ability to focus, brainstorm, and do long-term planning. It makes her more effective, provides the balance she needs in Rotary and her career, and ultimately makes her more passionate about her work as club president. A growing number of departing members also cite the club environment and say their expectations weren't met. Imagine being excited to be a Rotarian, only to discover that the experience you were promised isn't available. We need to be honest with potential members about our club experience if we hope to change these numbers. And we need to be flexible so we can accommodate the needs of our members in the community. Clubs have more freedom than ever before to structure themselves in ways that work for each and every member. There is a club for everyone. And if there isn't one in your community, we need to create one. We've talked about Rotary's commitment to diversity, but inclusion is equally important and even harder to measure. Inclusion refers to a cultural and environmental feeling of belonging, and we measure it by the extent to which members valued, respected, accepted, and are encouraged to fully participate in the club. However, diversity doesn't necessarily imply inclusion. For example, while adding women to the board or promoting more people of different ethnic backgrounds might enhance diversity, it doesn't necessarily change the culture of the organization or ensure that these underrepresented groups will feel fully included and valued. Making diversity, equity, and inclusion a priority is everyone's responsibility. And here are some of the ideas to try. Inviting local diversity, equity, and inclusion experts to speak at your club's next gathering. Encourage and support people from underrepresented groups to take on leadership positions in your club. And you could create a community advisory board and invite diverse members from the community and from your club to take part. We will learn what's important in the community and discover ways to work together to take action. Diversity and inclusion wouldn't happen on its own or in a vacuum. We need to invest in people in order to have them invest in Rotary. So what and why Rotary? What do we offer that's unique? Here is what one current member said. Rotary is a worldwide organization with the power to make meaningful change. It affords a platform for personal growth and development, quality friendships, leadership development, and the opportunity to give back to the society. What's encouraging is that these responses reflect our vision statement. Members clearly understand the value of Rotary. When we look at what potential and current members value most, some interesting trends appear. Both groups list participating in service projects to positively impact their community as the opportunity they value most. But potential members also want to make change globally and foster their careers through professional development and networking. Current members, however, value community service, friendship, and fellowship, and connecting with people outside work and their circle of friends. So even when both groups cite making a positive impact through service as their top reason for joining or staying, they each have different motivations. If those desires aren't met, they may no longer have a reason to say yes to Rotary. That's why it's so important to foster that atmosphere of inclusion to new members and accommodate them by hosting events as they relate to and not just remain with, this is how we have done it for 20 years and this is what it will be. That's the best way to disincentivize members and make them leave. Our research shows us that prospective members are looking for these opportunities to grow personally and professionally, as we said on the last slide. Consider the Rotarian who was terrified of public speaking and trembled their way through their first 5-minute speech. Past RI President Barry Ration is a good example. He froze when he was first asked to speak at his club. And the second time he froze too. His fears persevered with him. And now today he is able to stand in front of 37,000 people in Atlanta and speak fluently. Or the member who counts her experience in Rotary. That's why she attained a new job as a community engagement manager. She said, I wouldn't have gotten it if it wasn't a part of Rotary and I was a part of SANE. Fellow Rotarians, you don't have to offer formal professional development strategy for members to achieve their goals. Every service project we do or event you hold is a chance for someone to lead and grow. Members can also take online courses through Rotary Learning Center or leverage our alliance with Toastmasters, which I'll mention a little later, to provide your members with additional growth opportunities. Next time someone asks you about Rotary, you should be able to say you will achieve more than you ever thought possible, and you won't do it alone. And all these opportunities, from local community service to professional development, are things that are offered in clubs around the world already. No two clubs are exactly the same. And those unique club experiences are what differentiates Rotary from every other organization. If someone walked into your club meeting, uninvited but curious to learn more, what would they find? Would they be warmly welcomed? Would your members appear engaged? Would they leave understanding who you are and how you are helping your community? And would someone follow up with them to see what they thought about the experience? One of the most important things we can do is assess our clubs regularly and make sure they are welcoming to prospective members. If you find that your club needs to improve, Rotary offers resources to help. You can find them at rotary.org/membership, and these links will be posted online. in both English and French. Here we have 8 models of clubs. Of course, all do not apply to every or any area. The idea is not to try to have all, but to have those that are relevant to your area. We have discussed things like club naming with companies' policies. Because the anticipated number of requests would be relatively small and each situation might be quite different, the General Secretary has since determined that it's unlikely that a pilot project would be the optimal approach for such clubs. And this would be for major corporations who might want to have a club for their staff within their compound. It is recommended to move toward global implementation following a thorough review of risk sponsorship implications of using company names in the names of clubs, as well as developing qualification rules and efficient and user-friendly processes to protect the clubs and RI from liability. This will be discussed at the October 20 meeting. So what is your biggest challenge? With more than 50 resources available to you at Rotary.org/membership, finding the one that meets your needs can seem sometimes like a challenge. Earlier this year, we developed a new resource called the Club Planning Assistant. This interactive tool asks a series of simple questions and then recommends resources for addressing those specific challenges. In fact, we were excited about this when we invited every club president and membership chair in the world to take it and share with us their biggest membership challenges. The majority listed attracting new members as their biggest challenge, but many also said that accommodating the needs of prospective and current members, busy schedules, family, financial obligations, etc., was a challenge too. Addressing both of these challenges effectively requires us to think differently and adapt to changes more quickly. Again, I remind you that all of these you can find on the membership website. Bringing in more members than we lose is not the only answer, however. But there is one opportunity that all clubs and districts should pay closer attention to. Membership candidates are prospective members who come through the Rotary.org join website link to express interest in joining a club. A notice of their interest is sent to a district, and district and club leaders can track those notices through the Rotary membership leads page of My Rotary. Last year, 19,500 people contacted Rotary through this page. Unfortunately, clubs contacted less than a third of the prospective members assigned to them. In fact, in places that experienced the highest decline in membership, an equally high percentage of membership leads were never contacted. In the US, for example, membership declined by 5,711 members in 2018-19. In the same period, the US received 7,282 membership leads. Imagine what our overall membership would look like if we followed up on every lead. Although not every one of these prospective members will be a viable prospect, each one provides an opportunity to identify the value they might bring to Rotary. Managing prospective members is an opportunity. When we don't respond to inquiries, we miss more than just a chance to expand our club. We lose a chance to build goodwill in the community and a positive impression of Rotary. What would we do if this was our business? The second challenge club leaders mentioned is accommodating the various needs of their members. If your current structure isn't working, in fact, if it is working, there's no need to change it. But clubs actually have more freedom than ever to create an experience that works for them. Clubs are taking advantage of this flexibility. Here are some of the ways that are meeting the diverse needs of the members and their communities. Starting satellite clubs to give qualified people who can't attend club meetings a chance to join Rotary. We have 2 in St. Lucia in our district. Changing how, when, and how often clubs meet. Some examples are meeting just twice a month, switching from a sit-down meal to a less formal and likely less expensive gathering, or replacing a regular meeting with a social event or service project, or offering a new membership type, for example, corporate in some areas to attract multiple members of the same company, where that is practical. Meeting online to attract members who can't attend in person. Of course, now that COVID-19 has impacted us, look how quickly we have adapted to virtual meetings like the one we're attending now. Or developing cause-based clubs to attract and engage members who are passionate about specific issues, like, say, water in Guatemala or in India, or peace in Sudan. And there are numerous other types. You can find more information on this at rotary.org/flexibility. So my friends, what can you do with all of this information, especially if some of it is new to you? I suggest 3 things. Take time to understand membership data and trends in your region. We can offer you a global look at the state of membership, but Rotary Club Central makes it easy for you to see the trends closest to you. Ask members what matters most to them. Find out what they value, what they might be missing, and what they need to stay a member for life, and make sure you deliver that. Visit rotary.org membership for resources to support you. Whether you need access to club assessments, directions on how to manage your membership leads, or even guidelines for starting new clubs and membership types, there's likely a resource designed to help. Just as another source of information, at the October 29 meeting, the Board of Directors, at the recommendation of the Membership Committee, agreed to discontinue our ICE Service Awards Committee beginning in the 2020 to 2021 Rotary year. So beginning next year, the working group with our RI Membership Committee, which they have the honor to lead, will assume the responsibility of reviewing and scoring nominations and recommending to the board the recipients of the Service Above Self Reward and the Rotary Award for Excellence in Service. Of course, a comprehensive process review is being done to help streamline the selection process. In reviewing current eligibility of awards and in the interest of further elevating Rotaract as a membership type, the committee agreed to recommend to the board and to the trustees expanding the eligibility of Rotaractors who will have access to the awards as well. Since the formal announcement of the Toastmasters Alliance in early January, nearly 100 membership inquiries from Toastmaster members have been received. Through Rotary's online membership lead platform, we got these. The committee discussed strategies to mitigate the risk of Rotary districts not following up on these leads. Membership staff are actively developing a strategy to ensure that they have a positive experience engaging with Rotary while waiting to be connected with a club in their community. When people join a Rotary club, their potential to make a difference in the world grows exponentially. That's because they're joining a network of 1.2 million people who take action. Volunteers from all over the world who share a goal of improving people's lives. But simply joining is not going to change their lives or make those connections. That happens when members get involved and take every opportunity to get the most out of their Rotary membership. Whether they're connecting with their club, community, or larger Rotary world, or members know they're connecting for good. Our members are our greatest assets, a diverse group of professionals who share the drive to serve their communities. And together, we see a world where people unite, take action, and create lasting change across the globe, in our communities and in ourselves. So let us grow Rotary. Thank you. I'll be happy to answer questions.
Thank you, David. That was quite a bit of information. And I know that you did quite a bit of research. There's a lot of statistics you actually shared here. We have a couple of questions. First question from Nigel. He was wondering whether the breakdown for the reasons in terms of why people are leaving worldwide, any special reasons that I guess our district can benefit from? The reasons why people leave.
Well, I think the figures that we see there worldwide are no different if we pare them down to our own region. I believe though that just speaking from experience, some of the reasons, the smaller the clubs, and I wanted to shift here to clubs though, specifically as opposed to the district. Smaller clubs tend to have club politics, which seem to cause problems with people staying as against or leaving as against staying, and that's fairly prevalent in our type of club size. And then we see in other parts of the world the opposite, where large clubs have another political type, another politic that drives people away. So it's no easy answer to that, Nigel, to be honest. And I know from this district and dealing with it for many years that we have so many. In fact, I know of one island now that has more than one club that has
to share in order to close that gap.
Well, you said age difference too, you say?
Yes, the club is diverse.
Okay.
I mean,
yeah.
Your club, I think, is probably similar to our club as well.
Yes. Well, you know, I would probably prefer to use my own club. I know many of my club members. I can see a few of them in front of me here on my particular screen. But basically, you have to do, use the young people's term, you have to do what you have to do. A lot of people resist change. A lot of us, the older we get, resist change. Now, it's not that there are not good things that happen in clubs, but there are also a lot of good changes that can be done by the younger people who are more connected with what's going on in the community nowadays. And I find too many, I think I used that in my presentation. I said there, you know, we have done this way for 20 years, or this is how we do it. So in other words, you're of no use. You can't change it. You can't recommend anything. I think that's the worst way to deal with it. I prefer the other way of letting the newer, and I use newer because all new members are not young or old. So that's why I differentiate there.
So finding that balance
newer members, yeah. So let the newer members, regardless of their age, help make some of the changes that they see. Because sometimes they're doing exactly what we are suggesting, is to do the club audit. They're actually doing an audit by coming in and looking at what's going on and seeing and making suggestions. And I don't think we give them enough opportunity. A lot of clubs tend to want them to fall into what they have been doing as opposed to what maybe they could do, or start a new project rather than say, this is what we do every year in June. Somebody comes up with another idea. Give them an opportunity. I know, as I said at the beginning too, we have our regional membership officer from RI in here all the night. So if you would unmute Audley so that if he wants to make any comments on that, because I'm sure he might want to. Audley? Whoever is moderating would have to unmute Audley.
What's his name?
There. Yeah, Audley Knight. Yeah, he's unmuted there now. Yeah, there you go.
Good afternoon, everyone. Very interesting conversation, and the data that is presented is actually specific to North America and the Caribbean. But just to add two major points from the survey that jumped out at me big time was the club environment was one of the major reasons why persons left. And when we drilled down into it, it was personality issues and cliques and possibly low morale, and Rotarians just didn't feel included. So for the president-elects that are on the call, just try and remember that. Just try to make everyone feel included and welcome, because once a Rotarian comes in the room, they don't have to be there. So, just be thankful and, welcome them as best as possible. And one of the things that jumped out at us when we looked at the data, we always see or hear when we look at the information that comes in, that cost and time is a major reason why persons leave. But when we drill down, 44% of young professionals between 20 and 29 did not leave for cost and time. They left because of the club environment and the club culture. So how best to work with that or have a nice club balance assimilated is just wonderful. I love a really diverse club, and I always share this particular story where there was a club wanted to do a 5K, a run as a fundraiser. And that club luckily had a very wide, diverse range of Rotarians based on age and also tenure. And the discussion was, how do we close off the roads? How do we get this done? And the younger Rotarians were saying, we need to go ahead. And an older Rotarian in the back of the room said, that's not a problem. I'll call John. John was the sheriff for the town. So if that level of diversity was not there, just the speed and how that particular fundraiser was done could not have happened. So it's just how to have a cohesive relationship, and everyone from all different walks of life and different Rotary age, which is tenure and age, do bring value. So that's the balancing point as to how we can get that value together.
Thank you, Adi.
All right, just
Adi,
to lead straight into a question. Yeah, go ahead, David.
No, I was just saying, Adi, I don't need to introduce him any further. You can hear from the accent where he is originally from, but he's now based in Atlanta and is part of our regional membership team. And as such, from our district's point of view, replaces Rebecca, who we all know so well, that left us last year. Yeah, sorry, Liz.
Yeah, just to lead straight into a question from Diana, who's asking, why is it so difficult to recruit younger members? And then she also followed it up by saying that in her club, she wanted to have the Zoom meetings. A long time she was asking for the Zoom meetings and it never happened. But the crisis now, the pandemic, has forced the club to do it. So her question is, why is it difficult to recruit younger members in your experience?
Well, the one with the Zoom meeting, I mean, many clubs have had that discussion, and now look in the last 3 weeks, as little as 3 weeks, how things have changed. Clubs that did not want to even consider meeting virtually or having other meetings than their regular ones are now meeting virtually. So I think that problem has been solved, unfortunately, through adversity. But the young people, if we do not allow people in, I don't think there's any lack of people to join. I don't think there's any lack of young people. It's are we asking those young people? Are we willing to bring those young people in our clubs? And that's one of the problems. It's also one of the problems for a long time in getting Rotaractors to convert to Rotarians. Are we willing to invite people who are younger? Because remember, our profiles are older. Are we inviting the younger people? That's really the big problem. I must tell you, I speaking from a personal knowledge of my club, and my president is online here. But we have expanded. Right. We are about a 90-person club, and we have a real change in age range in the last.
You mentioned not inviting younger people.
Yeah, so we have younger people. We have many younger people in the club now, and I tell you, they're actually running the club for all of our projects, and so they're really engaged. So you have to go out and get them. You have to want to bring them in. They're out there, but you have to invite them. That's all I can really say on that. They're there. Liz? Hello?
Hello,
Liz, are you
I'm
there?
hearing you.
I lost
Ah,
connection.
I can hear you now, Liz. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
For a minute or so.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
All right. Now, yes, I was saying that there are clubs that have gone to the extent of getting a lot of younger people, and everybody, you know, would stand at that lectern when they're inducted and they commit themselves, you know, this is something I wanted to do, and all sorts of promises are made and commitments are made, and when the time comes to have a project done, these very individuals, and I understand that their people get, I mean, have a multiplicity of things that are competing for their attention. But the very individuals would come back and say that they're busy and, you know, they can't attend or come up. But I don't want to say excuse, because if their job, you know, we don't want you to have your job, you know, interfere with your job or your family life. But how can we really get the younger people, having committed to join the club, to get them interested and stay interested, keep them engaged?
Just give them work to do from the day they arrive. That's to keep everything. Just put them to work. Put them to work from the first day. Listen, I joined Rotary 42 years ago this week. I think it was a Wednesday, but anyway, the Rotary meeting was a lunch meeting. So by 2 o'clock, we were back at our office. By 2:30, the president was in my office and put a big book on my desk and says, "Thank you. You are now the chairman of attendance." I says, "But I don't even know the people." He says, "Well, exactly. You will find out by next week. Start calling." So he put me to work within an hour of my joining the club. And I'm still around. So I recommend that. Just put them to work. That's the worst thing we all do in Rotary clubs, is induct members and then welcome them and then talk to them many months later when we realize, hey, well, you're not coming anymore. What's wrong? You have to put them to work early. That's the only thing I can recommend on that. I see Giselle making a point on
Kenneth had a
flexibility
question,
too.
and this is a big question.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yes. Yeah, Kenneth has a question here for you. And you'd like to hear an opinion on the International Global Passport Rotary Club. Not certain what that is, but perhaps you might know.
Well, passport clubs, there are several members, several persons whose job is sort of, we call them globetrotters in other forums, but people who move around a lot and become, it's, you know, the easiest explanation would be to liken it to an e-club, a moving e-club. That's the easiest explanation I can give to that. But there are people who are not based anywhere. They're not necessarily based in St. Lucia or Guyana or St. Vincent. They're moving all the time. Yet they maintain their Rotary membership through. They could be in a club and keep moving, or they could be in that they call virtual. Nowadays it's best called virtual type club. So it's an opportunity to stay connected wherever you are. That's the important point, not having to join a new club and all of that type of thing.
That's interesting. Now, I have also a question from Evangeline, and this would be our last question. And her question is, our district has shown that our female members are 31.5%, globally is 23%. And she wanted to know why it is that we're still, Rotary, globally, still not attracting enough female members.
But globally, that's a tough question. The opportunity is there. There are no, as a good friend of mine said, there is no stumbling block. But however, change inevitably comes with problems. There are many. We have to remember, if we look at it in a narrow way, say in our district, we don't see some of the problems that other areas of the world. Remember that in some areas of the world, because of custom and religious laws and so on, women aren't allowed to be members. I know that's changing a lot, but remember that that's a big factor in some of the countries that have the biggest numbers. So when you look at it as a world figure, the figures are skewed as opposed to what we might see in our regular in our type of situation. But it's increasing slowly, not as fast as we would like, and that's why the board of directors made a commitment to keep pushing that we get the overall average up to the 30 or 32% by a certain time, and hope that we beat that. But at least we have to set some sort of target to work to and keep moving the target up until we get where we want to be.
All right. So I think that there is a comment here from Vishi Bihari. How can you change the mindsets of members who are stuck in their old ways? I believe you answered that question before.
I think so, but you really can't. The only way you can change them is to include, get them involved and work alongside you. That's, really the only way. The unfortunate thing is that too many clubs have a lot of things have sort of looked at that in all the questions and comments that I see here, and is what we call the club politics. That's one of the biggest problems clubs face, and as I said, unfortunately it's worse in smaller clubs because there's so much recycling that you get. You have this problem, but we have to move away from that. If we spent more time doing projects together instead of bickering with one another over some small rule or something. Rules are rules, but you don't have to take a rule book and sit down at a meeting and go through every rule to decide if you're to go down the road to have a 5K. That's where we get stuck. We spend half an hour wasting time at a meeting discussing one little fine point on a rule, and then forget that, hey, we haven't organized the 5K, so now we have no project. And that's we have to move away from that and try to get past that and actually do things and stop trying to be too rule book central.
The older members even sit the same place every week.
Well, that too, but you could put me in that group then too, because I sort of sit in the same place every week. But I will tell you this though, however, every week we also invite and make sure that we have either visitors or some of the younger members and sort of get them over to our a table. So I see Steve Kozer sitting on my screen here, and he's one that sits with me. But we always make sure that the younger ones come with us and have them and visitors. So that's another thing. A lot of clubs have visitors, and some people they'll welcome them at the door, but then they walk along and leave them. How good is that? Will you do that at home? So it's things like that we have to tighten up on in clubs. But sitting in one place is one thing, but how you do, if you're sitting with only Rotarians of that club and only that group together, then you might have a long-term problem. But the idea is to get people to move around. So
I think so. I believe so. Okay, David, thank you so much for your presentation. And I think that it's a lot of food for thought. You shared quite a bit of information and clarified quite a bit of things that club members are obviously concerned and that are some of the greatest challenges as well.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll hand it. Yeah.
Let me
Is there?
just say finally there, thanks though, thanks for inviting me, but and also to urge members to use the platform at Rotary.org membership. Rotary has spent a lot of time and effort, and the staff has done a wonderful job in developing programs and modules for nearly everything that we have discussed here and could think of to do with membership. But the real reward for the staff is if the members use it. So I really urge members to go online and use the Rotary.org/membership and all of the programs and modules and leaflets and flyers and everything that are there. I encourage them to use them. They're available in both English and French and other languages. So please use them. Thanks for all those who came on and to listen this afternoon.
All right, thanks a lot. And I'll hand over to Abraham, who's part of the District Training Committee, to close the session. But participants, please remember the link is on the screen to send your feedback to us using the link that we've shown here. It is also placed in the chat box. Over to you, Abraham.
Hi, good evening, everyone, and thanks, Liz. First of all, my personal thanks to PDG Dave. Always a fantastic, opportunity to learn from him when he speaks. So well done, PDG Dave. I'm sure all participants would have enjoyed, and the mere fact that we have gone over our stipulated time and still having more than 100 persons signed in, it says that you want to grasp as much as you can. So as Liz indicated, the feedback survey is very important for the district committee planning and improving going forward. We have the third of the 3 sessions planned for next Wednesday. We hope to see all of you, but more importantly, the district committee has made accommodation for 500 seats. I think we got up to about 140 or so just about this evening. So our request would be to share with your members during your meetings and even between meetings, so that we can have more members within the district, more Rotarians, maybe Rotaractors, to get the information, which I think it's really of a high quality in terms of its dissemination and content. So the survey we have captured through your registration, all your emails, and we will be sending out SurveyMonkey by tomorrow. Please fill out the forms and not just tick or circle a number, but your honest feedback and comments on how we can move forward and improve, including other sessions that you may want to see planned within the district. So we do look forward to seeing everyone next week, Wednesday, as well as other members of your respective clubs. So thank you very much.